Hey VCers, it's Matt back with another Kinks review, and this brings us up to 1974 and a then brand spanking new Kinks album, Preservation Act 2. Unfortunately, not the joyous occasion that the arrival of a new Kinks album was just a few short years before this. So, yesterday did Preservation Act 1 review, came out in 1973, this is 1974. Act 1's a single album, this is a double. Unfortunately, it's not double the fun. It's double the endurance, at least double, probably more. So, yeah, here's Act 1. You had 14 members in the Kinks. Now you have however many this is here. You still got Ray and Dave and Mick Avery as the mainstays of the band. Some other people, these floozies here, whoever they are, they sing on the album. Uh, Yet another concept rock opera album, and yeah, Preservation One wasn't great, but it was had its moments. This one, not so much. It's continues the expansion of the Village Green Preservation album themes. That album from 1968, wonderful, perfect album. This album, far from that. Whereas Preservation Act 1 sort of had ties to that album, thematically at least. This one, very little or not very much at all, really. So the story here is a little too convoluted to get into, and I didn't really take the time to figure it all out myself. But there's revolution and politicians looking out for their best interest, and charming cities being torn down to be replaced by shiny new junk, and individuality versus conformity, and high finance, and people looking out for their own interest, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's really just, the problem is the album is too dreary to really care too much, spend too much time figuring out what the story is here. And the songs, well, this is just a pretty lousy album, truth be told. There's I guess if you're house cleaning or something, you put this on as background music, maybe it's okay for something like that. Most of the songs on here is they're just sort of bland, generic, early mid '70s sounding rock. The lyrics are awful. The It's just a blah album, and it's hard to work up any real enthusiasm or opinion of, other than it's not very good and not any fun. So not much to say about it. It's on the high points, what few there are. There are some songs on here that are, I'm not going to say great because that's not the case. I don't know if I even want to say good, but I guess they're okay. I think out of this double album, you could probably wrangle together an album side of all right songs. The Nothing really sticks out too much, but Shepherds of the Nation on side one, that's a fun song in a way. It kind of pokes fun at the self-righteous crowd, or maybe the moral majority, or the some of the elements of the Tea Party that's around now. Of course, neither of those really existed in 1974, but I guess that sentiment exists all the time. There's some stuff that's just sort of, like I said, just sort of bland, generic rock and roll that's not very engaging. And Ray still has quite a bit of the show tune, musical theater type numbers, which the music's okay. The lyrics are just not very good. Pretty bad. I mean, here, just as an example, here's a song called Nobody Gives. Just an example of the lyrics. Back in 1925, there were thousands of people struggling to survive. There was hunger, unemployment, and poverty. Then in 1926, they decided to be free, so they all went in strike, and the workers told the unions, who blamed them. What the? So there's a lot of that sort of thing. But Shepherds of the Nation kind of a fun song. There is Mirror of Love, which was the hit on the album. The album made it to like number 130 on the charts, and Mirror of Love was one of the 45s released from it. Didn't do much of anything, but it's shown up in concert here and there ever since. It's another one of those Ray Davies sort of Carnival Barker voice singing a vaudeville sounding song. It's okay. Nothing uh, you're gonna rush out to buy or anything. Artificial Man is not that great of a song, but it's got a line says, "When I can visualize a day when the world will be controlled by artificial people." And there's another line similar to that in one of these songs that's I don't know. I can't be bothered to look it up, but that's kind of prescient on Ray's part because when you think about what passes for popular music and movies and culture nowadays and all the reality show crap and corporate America, and so I mean I'll give points for that. I don't know if that's what he had in mind when he wrote this, 40 years ago or not, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Uh, yeah. What else is on here? Um, there was one song on here that was I can't, should have written down some notes on this, but I just couldn't work myself up to really spend too much time on this album. Um, Nothing Lasts Forever is sung by the girls there, and that's kind of probably the best song on the album. There's really not too much else to say about this. It's awful. It's you're listening to this and you're thinking, my God, these are the guys that did You Really Got Me Until the End of the Day. What the hell happened here? So scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 1.5. It's about as high, and that's being generous. Things would improve. Things will improve for the Kinks. Fortunately, we'll see if that happens on the next album up or not. But this is, unless you're just a die-hard Kinks fan, don't bother with this. I encourage everybody who hadn't gotten into the Kinks to go out and buy their 70s albums and even some of their 80s albums, but their 60s albums. I'm sorry, I keep saying the 70s. But these early to mid 70s albums really not worth your time unless you're just diehard fan there. 1.5. We'll see if things get better. They do eventually. We'll see if that starts on the next album. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday, and